What's going on, everybody? This is Flash the Samurai. I'm with my brother Rakim, aka Rakimism, and this is the Project and Reflect podcast.
The podcast for creatives by creatives. Today we talked about soul versus AI, and if Flash is in the room, you know it included competition.
Yeah, man. So today we had a special guest, Toni
Smailagic.
Fuck. What's it?
Mr. Create Jax.
Mr. Create Jax. He's not a fan of us right now because we're trying to do his last name.
Smailagic.
Smailagic. Fuck. I did it earlier. I promise I did it earlier.
Getting worse. Smailagic.
No,
Smailagic.
it's Jitch on the end.
No, it's not a jitch.
Oh.
It's jik. Cool intro starts now.
Go ahead, Flash. Talk about it.
Well, just to say, of course, all entertainment is not soulless, but I don't think all entertainment is soulful either. I think that I don't even want to say there's a 50-50 balance. I think the balance is tipped in the scale of soulless than soulful nowadays. Soulful art is very a minority right now, you know?
Define soulful art.
Well, we can talk about people who just attached to a trend of what's going on, something that'll be here today and gone tomorrow, and they'll attach to that trend, boom, blow up, and now this trend is what everybody was looking at, but then in 2 weeks we don't give a shit about it, you know? And then we have soulful artists to where they could drop something or a project or something, whatever. This is all from music, of course, a musical standpoint. You drop a project that people are going to be like, well, this isn't the trend. Like, so I'm not going to gravitate towards it immediately. But then 5 years, 3 years, 2 years down the line, you go back and be like, bro, we slept on this. Because we were so focused on what the trends were doing that we didn't get a chance to really appreciate this in the time that when it came out. And that a lot of times is just nasty work to me. Like it's really weird because I'm never with the trends. I'm never like moving with the trends. I'm more so just moving with the people who.
But are you aware of them?
Yeah, you have to be. You have to be. So you know what to weed out and to what to take in.
So when you're recording, like if you're in recording phase, are you listening to anything or you avoid everything that's happening?
When I'm in single, because I am in solo album mode, don't get me wrong, I'm listening to more so R&B than anything else. I'm not really listening to rap. I'm not really listening because when you as a rapper, when you take in a lot of rap, you start to implement the certain type of things that they do into your style. You know, and you don't want to implement it too much to where you look like a clone, but you do want to take pieces of what they do really well and then capitalize on their mistakes, you know, because nobody's perfect, of course. So the mistakes that they have, you see it and it's like, I would have did this differently. So when I do have the opportunity to, you do it differently, you know? So it's like that.
So what is soulful versus soulless in photography?
If your premise is to receive likes and there's no emotion that you're conveying, no story that's being told, I kind of refer to that as soulless work. Soulful photography is something something you have to get out of you. That's the gist of it, I assume. I appreciate that we're on this topic because we just had an artist expound on this information for us at the Comer. Her name, Deborah Roberts. Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Her.
Yeah.
Deborah.
I heard Deborah, but you don't know how people identify. Like,
So you identified him as him.
I said them. I promise I said them.
You only got three of those. Tread light.
Canceled.
Fine.
Well, I mean, with like AI and creating things, I don't know how that's going to look when, I don't know if it'll ever catch up to the point, because I think artists react to what is happening. So, I mean, ever since Trayvon Martin to like George Floyd or whatever, artists are a lot of artists respond to that, what is happening in society. I don't know if AI is going to get to the point where they're able to react immediately to what
That's
is
a fair
actually
point.
happening.
That's a fair point.
And I mean, that can go to the trans things to homelessness or whatever, the topic of
the day or of the moment is.
Right.
The topic of the moment. I don't think AI is going to be able to capture that because it's not going to have the same soul in it. But that's what you're saying in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, we say that now, but then 5 years later.
Fair enough.
So my caveat to that is, how do we hear about those things? Through the internet.
Through AI.
How does AI learn? Through the internet. So technically it's grasping it before your eyes can even see it. So what's your thought process on that? Like you said, 2 to 5 years from now, could be totally different.
Are you trying to destroy the art community?
No.
Single-handedly?
I want to hear
Dismantle.
because in my field, it's a visual field.
Right.
It is. I look at AI as a tool, 100%. Like you were talking earlier. A lot of people see it in fear, as not just in the art community, but in the world. Oh, robots are going to take over.
Let them take over.
So I genuinely want to hear artists.
I'm fine with that.
Other artists take.
Why?
I've got my own.
I'm tired.
I've got my own dictionary on robots taking jobs. But I genuinely want to hear other artists' mentality on it. Is it something to be fearful of, or is it something to see as a tool to progress what it is you're doing? Because I've got both sides of the coin, but I do see it as a tool. So talk about it.
I just I don't see how it could be a tool for me. Because if AI is producing beats, I can't build a relationship with that AI. I can't build like I build relationships with producers.
But they can build visuals for you.
But I want to build relationships with the people that are building these visuals. I can't build that relationship. I can't talk to an AI. I can't ask an AI how their daughter is doing.
Not yet.
But still, it's not the same thing. It's just when I talk to Wade Saylor, I can talk to him like a friend. And for that, I appreciate that aspect of art more than anything else, of how close it brings me to people instead of how close
it's
just
human
brings
experience.
me. Yeah, it's a human experience, and that human experience is way more valuable to me than getting the actual art in itself. Because at the end of the day, there's going to be so much art to do continuously. There's always a new opportunity. There's always a new idea. There's always something new to do. So if that's all that the AI is offering me, that's not enough.
But that's if you're solely living in the digital world. So I don't know if there's going to be like a rise in having physical products. So going to, whether it's pottery, prints, to, just having something tangible to hold. Mm-hmm. If there's going to be a rise in that, because that's where AI may not be able to produce that. They're doing it.
Right. I agree.
Maybe it comes down to what the general sense of everyone values. Do y'all think?
Right. It's where your values lie at the end of the day. I agree with that 100%.
What do y'all value? You specifically, Tony? What do you value when it comes to art? The art that you produce, the art that you intake, art that inspires you?
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what I'm like, do I have values?
This is not the episode. Save that shit.
Right. Get me lit.
No. Just a regroup.
I don't know. I think it's going back to human experience. Like, that's what I value. That's always been my focus, has been
Absolutely.
How do I capture that? That's all I'm doing, is just documenting the human experience. And
but for you, with the human experience, you are able to, and the platform that you've created has made the human experience that much more enjoyable. Are you able to recognize that?
Yeah, that's the whole goal of it.
Awesome. That's
to bring joy forward. Like,
see, I never know how people view themselves in the platforms that they create. I never know how people view that, So it comes down to me being like checking Create Jacks every week has become like almost religion at this point. it's like, damn, what's going on this week? You know, like, how can I involve myself in something this week? What can I do to be in the community and have the human experience that honestly you somewhat provide? You somewhat provide a human experience through AI, if that makes sense. Because think about it like this. I got you. I'm connected to.
I was like, where you going?
I promise you I'm connected to.
Let's project and create today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I know that, like, damn, I have this going on if I work Tuesday through Thursday or Tuesday through Friday, it's like Saturday, my day off. Boom. Oh my God, what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? I have this day off, you know, and for me as a creative, I'm trying to get in the studio, of course. But at the same time, if I'm not a creative and I'm just a person or a pedestrian is what I like to call people who don't create, pedestrians. If I'm a pedestrian, I'm thinking like, damn, what am I going to do? Let me check Create Jax, who knows what's going on in the city. And boom, you're going to post tacos and tequila for Saturday that's going on, you know, and it's just kind of like, oh shit, I forgot about this. Let me go buy my ticket and go there. That person buys that ticket, goes there, has a great experience, all because of they went through AI to understand where it was that you know what I mean? You provided this reminder, yo, this is going on. Pull up, stupid.
That's what's gonna be my tagline from now on.
Pull up, stupid. Like, yeah, no, but that type of like experience is very important because a lot of people just don't get that. You know what I mean? And this is an episode about you getting your flowers, by the way. So, yeah,
This is where I walk off the stage.
you ain't going nowhere. You're going nowhere. You're getting your flowers today.
I'm just the middleman. I'm not creating the event. I'm just the person highlighting what the creatives are doing. Like, it's not I don't know. I'm not a center of attention person. Like, I don't need that. That doesn't fulfill me. That's not what motivates me to keep going. I'm putting the highlight onto someone who can. I just have the platform to be able to do it.
But you do understand how important that is, because you know more people than not who will say, man, there's never anything to do in Jax. There's never anything to do here. There's never anything to do here. And then it's just kind of like, do you follow Create Jax? Because you've become that platform.
And they'll still complain about it.
You know what I mean? And of course people are still fucking complaining about it. But at the same time, it's like, once somebody has become the platform to show you what there is to do here, and you still are saying what it is, you follow Create Jax? No, here, follow. They say what to do, what is there to do every fucking week of the goddamn year. And
you're literally a conversation starter at this point, like an icebreaker. I bring you up daily.
Same.
Everybody I know does as well.
It's important because there's so many people who be like, well, what do you do in Jacksonville? It's like, do you follow Create Jax?
You're the certified directory of Jacksonville. And
definitely.
Like, where
you're a guide. Where
exactly did you, and when did you assess that need that Jacksonville was missing a directory for socialism?
For socialism?
Essentially, I feel
socialism,
activism,
social events. So wait, what's the difference between socialism and social events?
What?
Socialism.
Am I stupid?
I'm stupid
very
with
TI
you.
of y'all.
Political party. Got you.
It's a political movement.
Got you. Okay.
Are
social events. Yeah. What's up? Okay, got you. All right.
Escalated quickly.
They did, right?
Should I ask that again so we can cut to it?
Wait, if that's the case, then let me go pee.
Hold on. Hold on. Socialism is redistribution of wealth. People spend money.
It's not necessarily lacking social or notice of social events. It was more so an inclusive way of like, there are other Instagram accounts that I followed when I moved back to Jacksonville.
But none of them capture the soul the way that you do.
It's different. Like, they all need to exist, but it's very white girl at the beach. Like, that's like the aesthetic. It's always, and I'm like, Jacksonville's.
That's not funny.
That is.
It's true.
But it's like, it's very catered to that demographic of right. and that's who they want to attract, the men who, I don't know, or the women who I'm
Lemon bar.
basically, it was a lot of that, and I'm like, I was way more interested in the arts or just the culture side of the city. So I don't know. So I started. I'm like, there's nothing here. I needed it for myself.
You're in a very special space to where you're connected to very low level things and very high level things at the same time. No matter the budget of these things, you're in the middle of being connected to them. So somebody can send you something and be like, yo, this is going on. We'd like to promote it on your platform and yada yada. Yo, however that conversation happens, it happens. So boom, that low level person, but then you have these high level people hitting you up as well, or just things that you already know about. Like I'm sure you already knew about the Jaguar game. Nobody had to hit you up about the Jaguar game and let you know that that was going on. But
or like Jazz Fest or like any of those that get like so much promotion.
Things. Nobody has to hit you up about those things, but people do. You know what I mean? There are certain levels of people who will hit you up about certain things that go on in the city that they want to make aware to other people. What does that feel like to be essentially a middleman, but at the same time still being the I don't know, you're the spark to make a lot of these events poppin'. Honestly, I don't go to events if you're not posting them, and there's a lot of people.
I don't feel any way about it. It's just I'm just moving on to the next thing. I rarely sit down and like, man, I did all this, and like I'm not I don't know. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, I'm proud of where I got from after I see like a post from 3 or 4 years ago to where I am now. But it's more so the improvements that I made along the way, not necessarily look how great I'm doing at this thing. It's still the same mission of who actually needs the support to do it, especially if I've met them in person or I've gone to something they've done before and I know the quality of event that they put on or like the show that they put on. Like if Love Culture is performing, I know the show that y'all put on, so I can it's so much easier to send people in that direction and not for the public not to lose trust in me. Gotcha. Because that's been the whole thing. It's like, how do you build the trust of the community without losing, I don't know, with still making money, still being able to survive. And yeah, it's just building trust and sending people in directions that I'm comfortable with promoting. So there's plenty of things I can deny when it comes to money, like events that they want to pay me to promote or businesses that want like full features. I'm like, your dental office does not make sense for me to promote on here.
Your dental office.
Yeah, I mean, it's dental offices. It's like certain restaurants or whatever where I'm like, I've been to the place. I don't want to promote that just because I'm getting a check. And then now people are looking at me like he'll promote anything that is getting paid, and you lose the trust.
Fact.
So it's always like that thin line of what can you promote and what can't you. Yeah.
So, quick stop on that train of thought. I feel like, so photographer to photographer, outside of the social events, outside of what Jacksonville desires Toni to capture, what is it solely that you want to capture or you want to express? And if you're able to expound on, some of the exhibits that you brought to life, things like that, like what solely do you want to capture and express?
People. Like, just generally speaking, it's always been people. Like, that's what I've been interested in. So, like, I can go to the mountains and shoot landscapes all day and it'll look beautiful, but it does not. That moves me when I'm there in person. Like, that's like my gift to myself, is being able to travel and see these things. But that doesn't move me in pictures unless there's some kind of, I don't know, someone has to be involved. It's just like, how do you document the people that are shaping not just Jacksonville, but the world? Like, these are the people who are here at this time, and it's so specific from style to how they move, who they're moving with. Like, those are all, I don't know, I regard it as like just a historic stamp. Yeah.
I know that you've gone.
Moves you, Wesley?
Talk to him.
What moves me in photography?
Yeah.
I've really found a liking to working with creatives. I love it when I'm not the only source on a set that's pouring spirit into it.
That has to feel good.
Absolutely.
That
It
has to feel good.
just happened very recently, and it wasn't a surprise. Every time I link with a creative, a lot of times it's kind of like it's just a play date that you're like excited to have and just can't wait, just knowing that a creative is going to come and help add some soul into the pot of creativity.
And have their own idea.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
That has to be great.
I mean, outside of like the creative works, you take what pays the bills, but also like fits your values and what's in your niche. But please zoom in on that. Outside of that, though, I just something spiritual is felt in the air when it's two or more creatives, aside from the Holy Spirit, two or more creatives. When two or more creatives are together, like it's just something. It's actual like electrical energy that you can feel.
Collaboration is fantastic.
I love it,
Isn't it?
Man.
It is.
How did you how do you feel when you shot us?
What do you mean? How did I feel?
How did you feel? Like it was just more. You remember because you shot what
That's different, man.
the kind of promo that we did. I mean, but it's the
It
same
wasn't
type of
like
creativity.
production though. Like
Oh, so is that different?
I'll let him answer, but to me that was completely different.
That's completely
from
different
what
for
I'm
real?
talking about. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was completely.
How'd you feel about it?
Yes and no. It's different because it's collaboration is like from my standpoint, coming from like the fashion photography side, it's like having the stylist and makeup artist and hairstylist and model, and everyone's kind of putting in all the, so everyone is like trying to step it up because nobody wants to be the weak link amongst that thing. So then you have like this grand production.
Yeah.
There are collaborations when it comes to shooting people like you two, where I'm like, I know y'all, and it's not, there's no pressure in doing it. It's just like I'm able to be a little bit more free with what I'm doing without having the expectation of, I don't know.
Do you know that like it's such a privilege? You're like a flex to know you in a sense. So
why do you keep doing this?
No. I got to. I'm sorry. So like I'll be out with a woman or something like that, and I'll see you.
Woman?
Yeah, absolutely.
A supple woman?
Soft and supple woman.
Stop using that.
No, I haven't. But I'll be out with a woman and be like, oh man, you see him right there? That's Tony, man. Create Jack shit right there.
And I'm just walking by sweating. I'm just
He's dabbing his sweat, trying to capture he'll kneel down, capture something. He's like, Create Jax. Oh, I follow Create Jax. I was like, oh yeah, you follow that page? That's my guy right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I'll walk up to you, shake hands. What's up, bro? You know? And now I look cool.
That's why I avoid people I know in public. Hell nah.
He's a flex, man. I don't care. Like I feel great to even know like people like that. I feel
Absolutely.
great knowing you as
I feel
well.
the same.
Like, you know what I
feel
mean?
the
I
same.
use y'all as flexes. Like absolutely. I know this person.
I mean,
like, you know Rakim?
Chef Kenny too. It's like,
Yeah, but
you're
I'm using
surrounded
all
by
y'all.
greatness.
What the hell?
He said I'm using all y'all for
All y'all. Fuck that.
Hell no.
I pull up and with something really cool, really a cute, soft and supple thing, you know. I pull up, hey, nah, this my guy right here.
Flash is an AI simulation. He's not even real.
for ego, for all ego.
And
He
AI
funnels all of it down.
Yeah, funnels it all through, you know, and we make sure that we all eat at the end of the day. You know what's crazy? I saw you at the Boyz II Men concert, right? Mm-hmm. That was so cool to see you in that element because you were locked in. You were locked in and like, boom, like running up, getting back, running back and forth. And then I saw you for that moment and you took a picture of us, like all of Love Culture that was like in that area right there.
I didn't notice all y'all were there. I think I only saw, it might have been just you or whoever was in the center.
It was
and
me,
I didn't notice it until I got
me,
home. I was like, oh, all of y'all are there.
I think Bob had went somewhere else, but we were all sitting right there. And then you was taking a picture of me and Chi, and I tapped Spirit, and then E was right there, and we was all just like, and like that. I thought that shit was so cool because then we had made the page that day. That shit was just. I've made like the Create Jax page a few times, just on some humbug shit. Like, so thanks.
So Tony, knowing you personally, I know that there's a bit of separation that you keep between Create Jackson and Toni, the brand that Toni is. Where does that stem from, and what are the two things that you like for those to separately be identified as?
And why do you separate them?
Go ahead. That's what I just asked.
Is that really?
We'll see if he.
I don't think he was going to answer it the way that you wanted him to answer.
How am I supposed to answer this? Why do I separate them? I don't.
No, answer his questions first.
I don't even know what it was anymore.
Sorry.
This is my second time.
Fuck, I'm sorry.
Something about separating the brand. I don't want to be the face of Create Jacks. Going back to like, I don't want the spotlight on me as a person, especially as it grows and other people are getting involved in it. It's, I don't know. I don't even have an example. Kit Kat, like you don't have product like a company that doesn't have a face behind it. Like Google doesn't really have a face behind it unless you know who the CEO is or whatever. It's the same situation. I don't want to be held to that, especially as I'm transitioning out of event work and other people are picking it up or doing it. It's like you're not going to see my images constantly on there. It'll be more of a collective moving forward. So that's separate from Toni as Toni, just me as a photographer. And that's, I don't know, that's always been deliberate from the beginning. I remember I had that conversation like the first year of Create Jacks. Were you there when Patrick Fisher was there? With Cultural Council? You were there.
Yeah. I remember Patrick, you got with the tattoos and whatnot. Yeah.
Because he was like, why don't you just combine the 2 pages so you're not running 2 pages? And I was so...
Where is he?
Erie, Pennsylvania.
Damn, man. I like Patrick. He was a cool guy.
Yeah, Patrick's awesome.
Awesome as shit.
He's not here right now. Tell us about Toni.
He's doing great things in Erie. I don't know where I was going with this. Deliberate about not combining the 2 things. Like, I still wanted to have Toni as a photographer as my own thing, just because that was more focused on whether it's fashion or journalism or whatever that I'm covering that has nothing to do with Jacksonville community specifically. This was like a community page. That's it.
But yeah, like, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, have you found it difficult keeping them separate, or have you witnessed other creatives trying to keep things separate as they move forward in their endeavors?
I haven't really found it too difficult, except when people call out that I am Create Jacks. But
especially when people know who you are, because like us, like me, Wes, like even Rakim is even that was crazy. I'm sorry I did that. But even the people who know who you are and know what you do, we're gonna say something because it's important for you to get your flowers in that instance. For me, especially. You know, for me, it's just like you're shedding light on things that wouldn't have had light shed to them unless they were listening to the radio or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, people are on Instagram way more than they're listening to the radio right now, and so when you bring these things to the light and you bring these things to a certain type of platform, to where how many followers does Create Jacks have right now?
Maybe it's slightly over 19,000 on Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. That's not crazy to you?
I'm like, what impact does it have?
It has impact because you send people places that they want to be.
Yeah, but I mean, that's more important to me than the number, because as the number grows, the less people are going to see it, just how the algorithm works.
Fair enough.
So it's like the higher up you are, the smaller the percentage gets.
Fair enough.
Like a Kim Kardashian is getting a 2% view rate, but 2% of whatever the hundreds of millions.
25 million is still, I got you.
Yeah, so the higher up it goes, the more it'll be dependent on me actually putting in ads and etc. for people to actually see the things. Just of how Instagram is built off of. So,
Toni, that brand, yourself, involving your background, the places you've been, you've taken photographs all around the world. What impact has your world knowledge and world experience had on your photography here in Jacksonville, Florida?
It's just experience. It's just being able to see what other cities have been doing, like moving here from New York back to Jacksonville. And that's when that's like the beginning of the whole Create Jax thing was after I moved back and seeing downtown. I'm like, I see what downtown is in different cities. Why is this not happening here? And then I was like, well, maybe people just don't know about it. And then it's like getting involved in downtown. And I was just always interested in how the urban core in general is developing to the point where it is now. It's, I mean, even in the past 6 or 7 years, it's come a long way. It's hard to see that on a day-to-day basis, and it's frustrating a lot of times because it's not moving at the pace that we want it to move, but it is moving.
Slowly but surely, definitely moving in the pace that we want to see it.
And you can see that in, like I said, with the pictures are just a history stamp. Like I can look at a picture of downtown 6 years ago and then see one now, and I'm like, we've come a very long way from what it was and who's actually in downtown now, how it's developing. I mean, going to like the Van Gogh exhibit there now, or you know, just how all the small puzzle pieces are moving and who's shaping it, who's stepping in, who's open. Like we had that, I don't remember her name, like the girl who opened the photography studio above DNG Deli, or there's like a ton of small little puzzle pieces that go into it, and I'm just documenting that.
And I think that that's very, very like interesting because you used a photo of me to promote Art Walk from years ago. You know, I've had locks for maybe
Lyricist Live.
Lyricist Live. Yeah, I've had locks for maybe 2 to 2.5 years now, and I had a fro. I'm like froed out in that picture, and I'm like, damn, like that's crazy. Like I hadn't seen that photo. I've seen it before, but I haven't seen that photo in years. You know, and to be able to harken back to that and use that photo to continue to promote what's going on just is a testament to what you were just saying of how long we've been doing things, and you know what I mean, how important they've been throughout the years. You know what I mean, and just being the middleman. Really, you're more so of a beacon than a middleman. It's just more so like, yo.
How would you define beacon?
I would define beacon as something to look at to point me in a direction of where to go.
Good job, Flash.
I'm on his ass.
Good
I'm
job.
on his ass. Was I on his ass?
Absolutely.
Okay, bet. So yeah, no. In that instance, that's not middleman to me, because it's not like a middleman is just like, yo, no, I can show you where you need to go to get what you need. But a beacon is more so like, yo, look, this is where you need to go if this is the type of person you are, because it's specific to you. You know what I mean? I may want to go to the Van Gogh exhibit, but I may not want to go to this hip hop show over here. You know what I mean? And a lot of people see the Van Gogh exhibit and be like, damn, I just read about that online. Oh, it's finally here. They wouldn't have known that had you not said anything about it.
I feel like they would have. Like Van Gogh was like a big enough thing.
They would have got it when it was November. You know what I'm saying?
No,
they had already been here for 2 months. Man, fuck that, bro. People are stupid. People are stupid, and they don't really understand how important things are to hop on them immediately. Because once you hop on it immediately and you book your tickets and yada yada yada, you see all of these. You know what I'm saying? Damn, what is that? Oh, that's the Van Gogh exhibit. She's like, oh shit, I've been waiting for this for the longest. Ain't nobody said it was here, but you said it was here. You know what I mean? And that is just way more important than you think it is. Because they're saying that. Go ahead.
I just specifically. So one of the conversations I've repeatedly had, specifically over the last 6 months, has been, there's all these things going on, and no one has an idea or a clue that they're happening. I show up to them, and I'm not a young person, and I'm the youngest person there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The people that are putting it on, I constantly go, hey, how come no one else knows about this? And their immediate response goes, oh, wow, I never thought about that. So what you're doing, you may not be the only person doing it, but I don't see very many people, including the people who are putting the events on, doing what you're doing.
Consistently.
Understand that, yeah, you think other people, they'd have known about it. They wouldn't have. And maybe the Van Gogh exhibit is a bad example of that.
It is a Van Gogh exhibit, but
in many cases, just like he said earlier on, I'll see it on Create Jax, and that's the first time I even heard that it existed.
Literally.
So just please, I get not wanting to be a face or anything like that, but please smell those roses.
You are a source. You are a source.
Even the people that are doing it aren't taking the pride in what they're doing to tell people that they're doing it.
Absolutely.
And you're taking pride in it, being here, being in the city, wanting to see the city grow, going, hey, this is some shit I think you should check out.
Absolutely.
And that's incredible.
Well, it's always easier to promote somebody else than promote yourself. So that's like especially with people throwing events or whatever, it's so, I mean, even from, I can only speak from photography side, like being able to promote my services or whatever to someone and say, look at all these things that I would never do that. Like, it's always like friends or word of mouth or whatever. That's the easiest thing. But I can sit there and talk about Wes all day. Like, how many times I've done that, even to clients who booked me, I'm talking about to Wes. Like, I'm like, y'all should really consider using Wes for future things. So it's, I don't know. I mean, it comes down with the promotion thing. For events, it's so much easier for me to use it, and it's not my event. I don't
agree. I think that's just more so of the type of person you are.
And that makes me ask, on that note, do y'all think that
reflect conversation here, because because why is it that you feel talking your shit is so important? And yet here you are in the midst.
I didn't want to go there. I really didn't want to go there. Absolutely. I swear I didn't want to go there.
But do y'all think ours crafts are like kind of chosen for us before like we choose them based on our spirits?
Yes, based on how you feel about yourself. Period. Like, you know what I mean?
So derailing a little bit from this, we've talked about AI versus soul. We've talked about community outreach, accolades, which is not of utmost importance to Toni. On our personal relationship, if you've been to Toni's house, it's a library of plants, information about tons of artists.
Why did I not get an invite to your
different fields? Because y'all are not that close.
Wes just shows up. He said Wes just shows up.
I do, and we'll continue.
Make dinner, man, so I can come give me a plate.
I'm losing my question.
Sorry.
Library.
So Toni's house is a library of plants, information, fashion, all kind of things. Where has your importance of art history influenced your art that you produce?
Sometimes. I'm not as... I know a lot of art history things, but I'm more on the visual side. I can't name things to save my life. Like, I'm not a memory person, but I know the image. I know like the font. I can visualize the font on the movie cover, or I know exact things like that. But if I was able to tell you who it was, no. But I think that automatically, even subconsciously, when you're shooting, it comes out. Like after you've seen an image so many times, you're like, man, this is such a powerful thing, or how they framed it, or whatever. It's like sometimes I don't even notice that I'm doing it until I have it in the computer and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this looks just like this. And there's been times where that has happened from Instagram. Like I see somebody do a shoot and I'm like, I really love that. I can't believe I didn't think about using this angle before. And then I'm not even thinking about it, 2 or 3 weeks later, and I do it, and then I see it. I'm like, damn, I can't even post this because now it looks like I'm biting or whatever, and then I'll post it like a year later. But
I guess my question to that is, how important is your subconscious when it comes to taking in other art?
I mean, you don't really have a choice in that.
No, you don't. I mean, not necessarily a choice at all, but the level of importance to you is as far as taking it in and then almost recreating it in your own way, of course, but in a sense to where it's almost like, damn, like I kind of just recreated something that somebody else did. You know what I mean? You doing that, does that make you feel like you can't do anything with it after? Because a wise man by the name of Aubrey Graham once said, it's not about who did it first, it's about who did it right.
You got one more time.
I know.
I don't know. I lead with intuition. Like, it's always like, where am I interested in naturally, and move in that direction. So it's sometimes that just happens to be how other people, there are other creatives who, and it's not just in Jacksonville, it's like anyone that I'm following,
Gotcha.
a lot of times move in a similar direction that I'm moving in. Like right now, I've been really interested in, and it's not even just right now, like I brought up the topic of wrinkles for years, like aging and how difficult that is for especially women and their process of transitioning through their 30s into their 40s, and seeing that. And I'd love to document that. And that's been a project that keeps popping up in my head for years now. And I've made casting calls about it to bring on women and whatever. And then it just never goes into fruition. But now, yeah, but, but now it's like, I'm seeing it pop up on Instagram. Like I'm seeing people document literally that. And I'm like,
that's just like the algorithms of, like, you know what I mean, how the phone works and how it listens to conversations, and it just will literally put those type of like images in front of you because that's what you've been looking for so long. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also, well, I guess that goes into woo-woo territory. There's like a book where like, I think it's Elizabeth Gilbert, where she discusses like ideas and inspirations and how they'll keep coming to you. Like, some ideas will continue kind of bumping in your head, but if you don't use it, it'll float to someone else. It'll go to the next person because you weren't ready for
like
it.
Like a whiteboard that everybody can look at, and you just pick out the type of, like, you know what I'm saying, ones that kind of fit with what you're trying to do, correct?
So it's inspirations coming from always something stick. If you don't do anything with it, it moves to the next person.
Right.
Where her example was like, it literally like a book that she started writing and then kind of fell off from it. It literally, the exact book was written by somebody else, like to the T of like names to what, and it's a book she hasn't discussed with anyone. And it, you know, obviously this is, it's still woo-woo-ish. But I believe that, like, if you don't do anything with the idea, I don't see why someone else can't utilize it. It's endless. Ideas are endless. Like getting attached to something that deeply to where you get mad that somebody else did it.
Yeah.
Even if you've discussed it in person, I'm like, why? You don't have time to do it.
Yeah,
like it's not your priority right now, and that's okay.
Really quickly, I have to pee.
I don't care. Like, I've seen people duplicate things that I've done. I've seen ideas implemented that I've discussed. And what I was telling them before was I've had text messages come in from people who I've had discussions with about ideas because I'm just throwing them out and asking if I'm okay with them moving forward with that idea. It really sung to them or whatever, and they'd like to do something with it. I'm like, why not? Like, I'm obviously not, it's not a priority to me. It's not something that I'm losing out on. Like, there's plenty to do with that. Even if now a bunch of people start doing wrinkle things, there's still something else that can be done with it. Like, that just adds another layer of, okay, so what isn't being talked about? What isn't being shown? Like, how can I make this more me than what they can do? Like, it's always I don't know.
Fair enough.
But you get frustrated if somebody is copying or taking an idea?
No, absolutely. No, that's a very frustrating thing for me. I was listening to Kendrick Lamar project. He did something that I was gonna do.
So Kendrick stole from you.
I'm not gonna say. We're not doing it. We're not doing that. Me and him had the same idea, and I was gonna do an idea of the old Juvenile. Like, I was gonna do that, and you know what I'm saying, through some flows and whatnot. And my homie Self can tell you, Cass can tell you, it's just so many people who can tell you that I had this idea, And then we all sat together and listened to the album. And when he did it, we was like, bruh, no fucking way. Like, we were all so shocked and surprised that it happened, to where we were just kind of like, bro, there's no way that he would have even known there's no way he would have known that we were going to do that. So it's just, that for me was a confirmation that ideas are just things on a whiteboard that we're all looking at.
Ideas are cheap.
Very cheap, you know? And so how you execute them, how you do them, all of those things are just very specific to you personally, but it's still very fucking frustrating. Absolutely. Like, if I see something, because I'll write something down and have something completely built out for it. I create masterpieces for certain ideas, and if somebody completely sees it and is like, oh, I'm just gonna do that myself, boom, and then they cheapen it. It's just like, bro, I don't even want to do this anymore because you've made it very trivial and very ridiculous, in my opinion.
But why couldn't you do the high quality one?
I'm not saying that I couldn't. I'm saying that it makes me feel like it's not worth it anymore.
But why?
I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. I'm just letting you know that, like, if I do something, if I say, yo, I'm going to do this, I'm going to tell a story backwards. I'm going to write a song telling a story backwards. Somebody said, damn, I'm going to do that too. And their shit sucks. It's just kind of like, bro, I could do the high version of the high quality version of this, bro. But the fact that you stole my idea, you took my idea and then did it, and then it sucked, made me not even want to do this anymore.
But you don't have the same audiences. Like, who's listening to you might not.
You're absolutely correct. It's the
and
fact
especially
that this
if it's a
person
trash
fucking
song.
sucks. Like,
and also, like, really, forefathers of hip hop was watch me do what you do better. Mm-hmm. So where did that get lost along the way?
I don't think it got lost at all. I think that type of shit doesn't resonate with me. Okay. I don't want to do what other people are doing. I never want to do what other people are doing because my mind is so. I don't want to use the term different because my mind isn't different from a hip hop person, but my mind is in a different space because it's not different in terms of rapping on certain sounds and certain instrumentation and certain styles of instrumentation. It's different in a sense of how I go about looking at these instrumentations, how I go about listening to these instrumentations, the pockets that I hear to rap in. You know what I mean? So if I'm going to do a certain type of element or implement something different, like if I want to implement alliteration, similes, metaphors, anything that I want to implement into this right here, and you try to do something similar, but you can't match what it is that I do because I'm at a higher level, it's going to piss me off.
But that's where the disconnect is, the pissing off. I'm like, nobody can speak to your experience.
Facts.
Besides you, like your lived experience it's authentic. Like there's a million people who can, like what Malcolm does with street photography, especially out on the east side or wherever. I'm like, you can throw in a street photographer into that area, but it's not, and they can do similar images to what he's doing, but the soul gets sucked out. Like there's a clear difference in what they're doing. And the right people who are supposed to see those images will see it from the right source. And I feel that way with music, but that's also just me from the outside looking in.
No, but that perspective is important. You know what I mean? I think so. Is he basically saying that do it anyway?
Yes.
Okay.
I think maybe he's fielding for who validates your art for you. Do we all feel like we validate our own art? Is that what satisfies you?
Do you need the validation?
I feel like I need to validate my own shit. I'm not gonna hold you. There's nobody who can validate.
You do, but are you? If you allow somebody else to do a subpar version of your idea,
it's the
and they're controlling your emotion.
No, facts. It's just the idea of my idea being stolen because I value my art at such a high level to where.
We do as well. So
I would never say that you don't. I would never say that you don't. Never in my life. But
I'm not attacking.
You do shoot 50 photos and keep 25. Is what I'm saying. Is that? Am I 10? Am I incorrect in that?
3.
I don't get to do that. I don't get to write.
Hold on.
No.
And
I need you to listen to me.
You want.
I need you to listen to me when I'm explaining
Okay,
this.
go ahead, because this sounds like a personal choice.
It is, absolutely.
Relax though.
You said relax?
Mm-hmm.
All right, my fault.
No, it's fine. I want him to get heated.
Oh, okay, because you was about to heat me up. So for me, I'm not the person to write 40 songs and keep 20. I don't do that. If I'm writing 10 songs, I'm keeping 10 songs. Because one, I'm not writing to anything that I'll see as a throwaway. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that's the one that doesn't work. You know
Are you throwing words out of those songs? My bad.
Am I doing what?
Are you throwing any words out of those songs?
Absolutely.
So it's the same process. It's the same process.
Is it really?
100%.
A song is a gallery for us.
Y'all reshoot?
Yeah. Or we it's the same process.
Edit, trim down.
It's-
Same situation.
I feel like we just emotionally feel different ways
keep
about
those
it.
photos?
They live on a hard drive somewhere or in the head.
See, but that's not this. That's what I'm saying. That's not the same. I still have to put this out.
If you throw words out, the gallery still gets released,
Heard.
but only
Is it felt?
verses.
That's not the same, especially when you rapping with someone like Chi, who fucking comes in and punches the shit out of the fucking beat, and now you have to rap after her or before her,
But if you
or
ever
you
have
have to.
conversations of how much that other person writes before they get to what they get to,
That's not the case. That's not. I don't have that conversation. I don't have that conversation.
Unreleased.
No, and you're absolutely
How
correct,
many things are
man.
sitting on a hard drive?
You are absolutely correct. What I'm saying is I'm not having that conversation because the final product is your best foot forward. If I feel like, I can put a better foot forward here, given the inspiration that you just provided me with the verse previous to mine, why would I not?
But that's what it is to narrow down a gallery or narrow down an edit. I shoot 4 hours to edit 30 minutes or to edit 2 minutes. Just the same as you sitting for 10 hours to write 16 bars.
Like, I'm sure there's hundreds of Beyonce songs that are unreleased per project that are written, recorded, etc., and then narrowed down to what the final product is. Same with like a collection of, let's say you're doing like a gallery thing and you're shooting all these different scenarios for that specific thing. I may have hundreds of images narrowed down to 5. Like, it's to speak on the entire process of it.
Crazy. That's not crazy to you?
It's the same thing that you saying.
When you pull words,
Maybe.
When you pull words and edit stanzas and edit similes and edit all of the things, when you're doing that process, it's the same thing for us. The video or the photo is the get everything on the page. The edit is the
cut
turn
it all
it into
down.
a verse.
Gotcha.
Perhaps it comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, we're literally reflecting, and yours is all projection, so your validation feels different for you because it's a projection from what's inside of you. We're reflecting from our mirrors and our cameras what's going on. So
I think it's different because my validation comes from reflecting on what it is that I wrote and understanding where it is that it came from. You know what I mean? I think seeing it and hearing it is so much crazier because if you don't record it how you intended to deliver it, man, that's the worst. That is probably one of the worst things because there are love culture tracks that I wrote it in a way to where when I delivered it, it just was not the same way. And it was like, fuck, man, if I would have added an inflection here, if I would have did something here, or, you know what I mean, took something off here, it would have hit the ear a little smoother. You know, and that's really the goal, really.
we probably can relate, especially, in things that you can't repeat. You can't repeat somebody's wedding.
Right. Yeah.
And I've had
You can't
to
tell everybody to line back up.
Nah,
Can't do this shit again.
not at all. Can y'all run that back?
Can y'all run that back? Man, fuck.
So I think the biggest thing, based off of what you just said, is everything I create, and I get this grief a lot, is appreciating what it is you put out. For me, everything I create, I learn something with everything I create of how I could do it better the next time. So for other people, and it's not about validation or any of those things, but when other people appreciate what it is I've done,
When do you appreciate it?
That's what I'm saying.
Talk to him.
I find it much more difficult.
You talk to him.
I find it much more difficult to appreciate what it is I'm doing because I've sat with it for so long. I found all the flaws, not just technically, but what I deem flaws in what it is I've done. So for me, it's always on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. So as artists, how do we do that? How do we find not just appreciation, but bask in what it is we've done with at the same time learning from what we've just done? Because I feel like all of us probably sit in that. Like, I could have shot that better. I could have edited it better. I could have rapped it better. How do we do that?
I think that's where I'm very grateful for the bit of arrogance that I have on a consistent basis. I think that there's no one who can do what I do. There's not a soul that can do what I do. The way that I'm able to capture your destruction is just very different.
Is that unique to hip hop? Because I feel like the talk your shit scope of things, like I hate saying arrogance, but arrogance in a way is so, I never hear it from like filmmakers or photographers, or not on a regular basis. But is that like specific to hip hop?
I think that's where it more so, I don't want to say originated because I was arrogant before I started rapping. I think that there's room for it everywhere though. I think that especially for everyone in this room right now, all of you are very fucking good at what you do. Great. Is it really
on this road?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like listen,
we work like that, we show up like that, but my art, it just has, my comparison to other photographers has no bearing on, like, it doesn't bring me joy to like compare it all.
I get that, but at the same time, I don't think it's supposed to bring you joy. It's supposed to validate what you do. Joy isn't always
the opportunity validates. I feel like in my field,
and that's cool.
The fact that I'm there,
be joyful in the opportunity. I think what all three of you do here visually, you can sit here and say whatever it is that you want to say, because a lot of people worry about people talking their shit less because they don't talk their shit more. They don't talk their shit enough.
No, I don't.
I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying a lot of people. I'm saying a lot of people look at people like myself who be like, damn, all he does is talk his shit. Is very arrogant, and I don't really fuck with it because they don't talk their shit enough. You know what I mean? And I think that until people start doing that, and until people actually start living in, you see that shot right there? That's me. That's Rakim. That's Toni.
There's some truth.
That's Wade Sailor. What it is that y'all capture, people can't capture that on a regular basis. For y'all to be able to be like, oh man, that's just, you know what I mean?
I think it's just
it
presented
pisses me
differently.
off.
Maybe because it doesn't belong to me. Maybe because it's an image. A rap belongs to you. An image is something I saw and captured. Maybe I don't attach.
But everybody can't see what you see. Everybody can't see what Toni sees, nor Wade Sailor. Nobody can see what you guys see.
But there's like a confidence that goes along with it that you build, where you know what you're doing. I'm not sitting there basking in it. I'm like, I'm so much better than this person. I don't think it has that same competitive. Just the industry is not competitive in that nature,
right?
Versus hip hop is very competitive,
I think
in nature.
If that industry became just a tad bit more competitive, it would push everybody to a certain. What do you mean?
What is the point of the competition?
The point of competition is healthy competition. Let's make that very clear. Excuse me. Any artists that know me know that it's very healthy competition. Because when we talk just man to man, we just talking man to man. But when we talk rap, we not having the same conversation. You know what I mean? It's not just man to man when we talking rap. It's rapper to rapper. Like, you know what I mean? When you talk to Wes and you show him this photo, it's like, yo, listen, this here is probably one of like this would probably be a top 5 photo if you did it. But this for me is a throwaway. I don't need it.
But that's
Of course, but like
I've never had that
but like
conversation.
when you hear that, no, listen.
Yeah.
When you hear that, it's just like, bro, what? Like, why is that? You know what I mean? But for me, if you were to say that to me, you'd be like, oh no, who are you talking to? All right, bet. Let me go show you something that I could do. So it pushes the envelope in a sense. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to
I
be
think
that
it
way for you
works
guys.
in hip hop. It's just
It just don't work for y'all.
I just don't care.
in photography. Yeah, it's like the loudest. Like I know photographers who are the loudest, who have like they get great business from it because they are loud. Like there is a they self promote. They're business people first,
It's some
right
marketing
before
style.
creatives, and you see that. And they're consistently going to keep booking because they know how to run the business side of things.
What's the quality like? Tell me what the
But
quality
the
is.
soul is lost. It's like, it's not necessarily the quality. The quality is there. They can light everything perfectly. They can do everything, but there's no attachment for me when I'm looking at it. But the person who they shot, that could be their favorite picture of them because that is their style of that they're interested in
Then
doing.
what is the soul lie for you then?
Good question, Flash.
Because for me,
I like that.
I rap. My soul is based on competition. My soul is based on being the best lyricist that I can be, or being better than the next person you're listening to. If you hear his verse after mine and be like, I don't really like his in comparison to what Flash did.
But
at
that's
the same
always
time, go
on
ahead.
dependency on what other people are doing.
Sure.
Where ours is not that way. Like we're embracing day-to-day life.
That's
like
why
it's
I asked
not-
you, where does the soul lie though? As far
In
as
that.
photographer.
I don't know,
An oomph, not competition.
Oomph.
Yeah. Don't say oomph like that. What the fuck?
You said
The fuck?
So the you specifically talked about people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the person in the photo, or is it the emotion that's being conveyed?
it can go either way. Because sometimes it can just be a silhouette, but the way you framed everything causes an emotional reaction.
That's what I'm getting at.
So there's that portion of it, but I don't.
And again,
don't know.
emotion. People put emotion on the spectrum of happy, sad,
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
No. You specific like.
And I think that reflects it. A lot of times reflects on your personal emotions at that time when you are taking it. If you are in a struggling state and you're creating something personal for yourself, it's very often going to be something in black and white and moody and smoking a cigarette on a fire escape or whatever. Like those are like the images you're drawn to, like the loneliness, the whatever, versus where I've been in like very happy states where everything around me is kind of going as is, and all of a sudden like I notice how I'm editing and it's a lot more colorful and saturated. Emotion is still there, but it's just reflecting where I am in that moment in life. And I can look at that from different eras of my photography and see I automatically reflect back to where I was in mindset during that photo. And you kind of have to do it. It's not, I guess that's the difference between like the soul and the business side, where obviously the business side, you have to survive, but I would be doing this even if I wasn't.
And the soul side kind of shows the growth from where it is that you came from and where it is that you are today, in a sense.
Soul is just, you have to do it. It's like, you do it because you do. Like, there's no, like I said, I'll be doing it regardless if I'm getting paid for it or not. And many times I'm not getting paid for it and still want to do it because I have to.
Damn.
So
you don't feel like you're better than nobody else?
I don't judge it that way.
I'm just asking you a question. And let's not even judge anything. You don't feel like that you're a better photographer than anyone else?
I'm better than myself from yesterday. Yes.
Good job.
I really don't look at it that way, because I know plenty of the photographers that I've looked at my entire life, the books that I've collected, the whatever. I'm like, each one of them is so drastically different that I can't like one is not necessarily better than the other. It's like sometimes this is my favorite photographer because that's what I'm drawn to at that moment. And then I see someone who does, it goes from like street photography to like they literally built out cities to create this masterpiece of a thing. And it's like a Steven Spielberg type of thing where you can appreciate both, but they're so vastly different. Like I can't compare it. I can't compare my experience to someone else's.
You don't feel that way either, Wes?
No, I know that I'm an emotional curator, and that's what I'm drawn to. But as far as just like technical skills better than, or if I steer somebody's emotions better than the next person, that's just it's not a measurement, a tool of measurement that I use.
And wait, Taylor, you don't feel that way either.
And the answer is no. Listening to what you're talking about.
Flash is disappointed.
We're not rappers.
No, hold on. I just had an epiphany of this conversation. We've had this conversation many times over. We don't measure what we do amongst our peers. We measure what we do based on the people that we look up to.
Okay.
So looking at the person next to us and go, yeah, I can shoot better than them, we could care less. We look at the people that are masters of our craft and we go, I like what they did, I like what they did, and I like what they did. Where you are amongst your peers, and in the world you're in, you're not having to beat out your peers, but striving to beat out your peers, and in a lot of cases, effectively beating out your peers.
It's me, it's him.
Gotta scratch your back a little.
Thanks.
But literally that's what I just realized is in no way, shape, or form do I look at the person next to me and go, yeah, I did better than them, and I'm going to be better, da 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 da. And because I had a similar answer, where I look at here's the people, here's the art, here's the people that I look to when I'm finding where it is I want to be, and it's not about being better than that person. It's about how can I do what they did for me. Not about being better. How can I make Wade Saylor just as in that same atmosphere
I know what you mean.
as what they've got going on? I can give a shit about who's down the street with a camera.
Interesting.
That's, like I said, that hadn't dawned on me until you said what you said, and you said it, and I was like, wait a second, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not about who else is shooting. It's 100% about where I'm trying to go.
Well, fuck all y'all. Man,
This has been Project and Reflect.
I see where you guys are coming from. I don't understand it, but I respect it in the same sense.
Likewise.
You know, I think that seeing my peers and seeing the people do what it is that they do, you get inspired to want to meet that level of, you know, if Intricate takes it to a level, I need to go there as well. If Black J takes it to a level, I need to go there as well.
Same.
You know, and I think that we are able to kind of meet each other at a certain point to where it's just like, yo, I just took this to this level over here. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Because we all still want to see each other win. It's just, I'm going to win with or without you. You know, and that's just where we are as far as rappers go. I don't know. You guys are very interesting. I don't know anything but competition, so like it's just very interesting to hear anything other than that, you know. So
Project and reflect.
Yeah.
Really, facts.
Well,
Right.
Oh God. So yes, no. This has been Project and Reflect. Shit, 3 people said it before I took the fucking hint. This has been Project and Reflect. It's been a pleasure. Shake my hand. You know, you'll be okay. Appreciate it again. You know, for Flash the Samurai, for Rakim, man. This has been great. For Wade Saylor as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace, 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 peace. I don't know what camera is on me.